What if I told you there's a completely legal strategy that lets wealthy people live off millions of dollars without selling assets, without paying income tax, and when they die, their kids inherit everything tax free? This isn't some offshore loophole, this isn't tax evasion, and it's definitely not something new. A lot of people just don't know about it. It's been hiding in plain sight for decades, and it explains why billionaires pay lower tax rates than teachers. This was a question I always asked myself until I finally did the research and learned. It's called buy, borrow, die. And once you understand it, you'll never look at money, taxes, or investing the same way again. What's up, everyone? I'm Eric. This is Money Moves with Eric, my new channel. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. On this channel, we break down how money actually works, how wealth is preserved and not just earned, and why the rules for the wealthy are very different than what most of us were even taught growing up or in school. Quick disclaimer though, before we start, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a CPA. This video is just for educational purposes only. This strategy is not something most people can directly use, but understanding it will change how you think about taxes, investing, and long-term wealth as a whole. So let's talk about what is buy, borrow, die. Well, that phrase, buy, borrow, die, was popularized by a law professor to explain why ultra wealthy legally avoid taxes. It's not a trick, it's not illegal, it's the tax code working exactly as it was written. It's interesting. So there's 3 simple steps, and individually they sound harmless, but together they are incredibly powerful. So we'll start with step number 1, and that's buy. Well, wealthy people, they buy appreciating assets, not income. So that could be things like growth stocks, real estate, private companies, equity funds, assets that increase in value but don't pay much taxable income. So that's why you always see them buying these things. Here's the key. Now, unrealized gains are not taxed. And if an asset grows from 1 million to 5 million and you don't sell it, the IRS gets nothing. Compare that to most people. So let's say you earn income, you get taxed immediately, and then you try and invest what's left. Well, the wealthy, they flip this. They invest first, they let it grow tax-free, and then they figure out how to spend it without selling. Try and keep up. I know it's a lot and it can get confusing. Step 2, borrow. Now, here's the part most people don't understand or even have access to. So once you own appreciating assets, the bank will lend banks will lend against them, and this is called securities-based lines of credit, or like S blocks or portfolios, lines of credit, asset-backed loans. There's lots of different terms depending on who you're going through. Now here's the magic sentence: borrowed money is not taxable. Let's say you borrow $1 million against your portfolio. There's no income tax, there's no capital gains tax, and there's no IRS event at all. So wealthy clients will often borrow at lower interest rates, flexible terms, and they're using assets they never plan to sell. Are you guys following? All right, so here's what happens while they're borrowing. Their investments, they're still growing, because remember, they didn't sell them. So let's say if your portfolio grows at 7 to 8%, we'll stay conservative, and the loan interest, we'll say, is 4 to 6%. They're still coming out ahead. So they borrowed all of that money against their portfolio. Their portfolio is still growing faster than the interest. They live off of those loans that we talked about. Their wealth compounds quietly and their taxes stay near zero. Okay, but what about the debt? That's a good point. That's a good question. Let's talk about that. This is where most people think the strategy falls apart. And so what happens when they die and they've just carried on that line of debt their whole life? Don't the loans get paid? Won't taxes show up eventually? Well, that brings us to the final step, and that final step is die. And here's where it gets interesting. So let's say when someone dies, their heirs receive assets with something called a stepped up basis. What does that actually mean? Well, I'll tell you. So that actually means assets are revalued at their current market price. All lifetime capital gains, they disappear for tax purposes. So let's say an asset was bought for $1 million and it's worth $8 million at the time of death. The IRS treats it like it was always worth $8 million. Those heirs can sell the assets, they can pay off the loans, and then they get to keep the rest of the money that's sitting there. And in many cases, there's zero capital gains tax and is ever paid on it. It's wild, but that's just how it works. So you get decades of growth, there's no realized gains, there's no income tax, and there's minimal estate leakage. That's how dynastic wealth is preserved. It's crazy, like really what you can build with this. It's hard to get to that level, but it's wild. And so why this matters for regular people, here's the important takeaway for this. This isn't about like copying billionaires, because let's face it, we can't copy billionaires. We don't have that ability, most of us. It's about understanding why income is taxed heavily, why assets are protected, why selling is punished, and why long-term ownership always wins. It explains why wealthy people avoid selling things, why they borrow against them instead, that why the asset accumulation matters more than the salary. So here's some things that you can apply. You may not be able to use the buy, borrow, die today. Let's face it, most of us can't. It's just not within our scope of possibilities. But here's what you can do. You can prioritize owning assets. You can reduce unnecessary selling. You can understand tax efficient growth, and you can stop thinking only in income. That's the mindset that it alone puts you ahead of most people, just by having that mindset. If this video changed how you see money, definitely hit that like button for me. I tried to explain it the best I could for you guys. Subscribe to Money Moves with Eric. This is a new channel. We're here, we're growing, we're showing you transparent financial freedom, my path to it. Drop a comment that says, I didn't know this, if you guys had no clue. I've got more videos coming breaking down like how regular people can still play smart, asset versus income strategies, real world investing without the hype. We're putting it all here on this channel for you guys. And thank you guys for coming along the ride. I'll see you in the next one.